Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article. Now this is from The Hill. It was written by Lawrence Friedman, who's an opinion contributor. And basically he likes the fact that Justice Roberts appended his ruling with the Pentecostal church in California. And there's a slight problem. He just wiped his ass with the Constitution is all. But hey, so he had to double down, and that's a good thing somehow when he's wiping his ass with the Constitution. So anyway, let's see what Lawrence here had to say. A future spike in coronavirus infections is bound to lead to another wave of emergency orders that set restrictions on the way Americans live, work, and play. Yeah, conveniently, got a problem with churches infringing upon an inalienable right. You don't have a problem with that, but you got a problem with the fact of people that are protesting what's going on right now. Telling them not to would be wrong because that would be racist. I'm sure that's what's going on, in your mind at least. Because the way that you're pushing this shit, I'm sure you're for the current protest. Just a guess. Individuals and groups opposed to state and local efforts which are designed to blunt the renewed spread of the pandemic will be ready with legal challenges. Yeah. States in defending the next round of orders will be able to point to Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, who basically showed what a neocon RINO shitbag he is, of the ilk of McCain, Baby and Papa Bush, and Romney and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Roberts appended a concurring opinion to the Supreme Court, denial of an injunction, in the case of South Bay United Pentecostal Church versus Gavin Newsom. It concerned a California emergency order that placed a temporary numerical restriction on public gatherings in order to prevent the spread of coronavirus. State guidelines at the time had restricted large public gatherings of people in close proximity for extended periods of time, including music concerts, university lectures, movie screenings, spectator sports, theater performances, and places of worship. Now, this is the thing. You can't put any type of regulation on places of worship. Okay, the First Amendment. Okay, the idea of religious liberty and freedom. The whole point of it is the government shall not regulate religion. That's what they're doing. When you say that you can only have, 25% capacity, max 100, but a Walmart that has a capacity of 1,000 can have 50% capacity and have 500 people strolling around for an hour. All right. You're regulating religion. You can't do that. The Constitution says, no way, sorry. Violates me. No. But they don't give a shit. In his opinion, Roberts explained that the First Amendment posed no bar to the emergency order because the state subjugated similar secular and sectarian activities to identical restrictions, but they didn't. Churches had a 25% capacity up to 100, while places like Walmart could have 50% capacity, and Target could have 50% capacity, and dispensaries could have 50% capacity because people got to get their fucking weed. Whatever happened to the days of a fucking deal? You made a phone call, picked up your shit, and it was done and over with. It was cheaper too. This is placing no particular burden on religious gatherings, but they clearly are. Roberts recognized that governors are facing an unprecedented public health crisis, a situation poorly suited to second guesses by federal judges who lack the background competence and expertise to assess efforts to address the emergency situation, which is funny because these same experts are now saying take to the fucking streets because of fucking systematic racism. So they're telling you can't go to fucking church, but because of systematic fucking racism and the church of fucking leftist identity politics, you can go out to the streets and take to the streets and loot and burn shit down. That's okay though. That's perfectly fucking fine. They want you to do that. This is ridiculous. The reasoning should prevail in most cases where individuals seek to use constitutional rights protections as a means to undermine the efficacy of emergency orders aimed at halting the spread of a disease for which, as Roberts noted, we have no known cure, vaccine, or effective treatment. Well, slight problem, Roberts. The Constitution those rights guaranteed in it are inalienable. It doesn't matter if they conflict with the pandemic fucking measures. They are inalienable, shall not be infringed. Period. End of story. Shall not be regulated. Religion shall not be regulated. That's the whole point. Freedom of speech shall not be regulated. This is ridiculous. His lesson for governors, for whom it is not too early to be thinking of a next potential wave of the pandemic, is to draft emergency restrictions that treat constitutional right protections as the same as others. No, you can't do that. Constitutional rights cannot be regulated by the fucking government like that. What you're saying is an inalienable right isn't inalienable, and that it can be fucking regulated. No, it can't. Fuck off and die. Real simple. The current medical thinking is that the disease spreads most readily, excuse me, the more time people are indoors, close together, and with someone who is infected. Now, this is what's funny. They got no problems with like restaurants doing carry out and shit like that in closed quarters with their employees like that. They got no problem with people spending an hour in fucking Walmart like that, you know, or waiting in line to get into fucking Walmart or a Target or whatever. They got no problems with that. But they got a problem with people in church, socially distant, okay, most likely wearing masks. They got a problem with. That's some funny fucking shit. And I'm not talking like, you know, like this is a really, you know, good joke that, you know, everyone's getting a laugh from. I mean, like in a bad way funny. Like, what's this world coming to where you actually have shitbags trying to say in an alien that as long as you infringe on constitutional rights equally with non-constitutional rights, it's perfectly fucking fine. It's not. It follows that states should seek to limit gatherings at places and situations where people are likely to gather for long periods of time, regardless of the nature of the event. You can't do that because religion, you cannot, it's an inalienable right, cannot be regulated by the government, cannot be infringed on by the government. The coronavirus, after all, will not discriminate between music concerts and church services. No, but the Constitution does. So fuck off. If the government treats all places and situations in the same way, then individuals cannot claim the state discriminates against constitutional interests as a wedge to undermine emergency orders. Yes, they can. Because if you're infringing on them and saying, look, you can't do this, okay, we're telling you how you will run your church, that is a violation of the First Amendment and freedom of religion. If Massachusetts had the benefit of the opinion of Roberts in the case of South Bay United Pentecostal Church, when the state defended its emergency order, which treats gun shops the same as all similar non-essential businesses in federal district court, perhaps the court would not have concluded that the order had imposed an improper burden on the Second Amendment rights of citizens who were seeking to buy firearms and ammunition. See? So now they're moving it on to the Second Amendment. This is exactly my point. They're looking for a way to infringe on the fucking Constitution. And they're like, well, if they had this, though, then they could have said, oh, that doesn't violate the Second Amendment. But see, the thing is, Second Amendment shall not be infringed. It says specifically, at the end of it, shall not be infringed. So it wouldn't work if we actually want to follow the Second Amendment word for fucking word. I mean, these are some fucking sick fucking people. When it benefits them, they got no problems with the Constitution, you know, having it be used as fucking toilet paper. But I bet the second that their shit's infringed on, you know these people would be crying the fucking loudest. There is little doubt that treating gun shops as non-essential businesses served to promote the key public interest in the health of Massachusetts residents. No, it didn't. Because during a pandemic and food shortages and everything else, someone might want to be able to defend themselves. You're infringing on an inalienable right that shall not be infringed. When the court had finally held a hearing on the request for an injunction, thousands of Massachusetts residents were infected and the coronavirus had claimed more than 4,000 lives. To flatten the curve and slow the spread, the state had to reduce potential vectors where it could. Even conditions the court ultimately approved, such as masks and social distancing, could not eliminate gun shops as vectors in the same way as preventing contact as with other non-essential businesses. Because all of a sudden, gun shops are places where people are going to fucking hang out. Because, oh wow, they got to look at the fucking, you know, they're literally, Massachusetts, cannabis fucking places were fucking perfectly fine, okay? They went after gun shops. People are there looking at all the different strains, taking their sweet fucking time, all right? But someone goes in to get ammunition or buy a fucking gun who isn't going to be there like that, all right, hanging out all fucking duh, because they're all stoned and shit, all right? Yeah, one is okay, but the other isn't. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. Cannabis was considered an essential business in Massachusetts. All right, I got no problems with smoking pot. Unlike Bill Clinton, I fucking inhaled. I'll be the first to admit that. All right, I'm just trying to prove a fucking point by bringing it up. This is ridiculous shit. It really is. At the end of the day, the concurring opinion by the Chief Justice in the case of South Bay United Pentecostal Church suggests an important role for the federal judiciary in the midst of the pandemic that today seems to be imbued, as it is, with modesty and appropriate deference to state and local officials who must, under the constitutional system in this country, bear the responsibility for keeping the citizens safe and healthy. But they have to do it within the confines of the fucking Constitution. You can't just say, oh, well, if you infringe on things that are not constitutionally guaranteed and constitutionally guaranteed equally, there's no constitutional conflict here. Okay, if you say shit like that, you got a fucking problem. Because there is. You can't infringe on a constitutional right, period. End of fucking story. That's the whole point of a constitutional right, of an inalienable fucking right. Freedom of speech shall not be infringed upon. But you're making the case that it can be. Freedom of religion. You've made the case for that. You're saying the Second Amendment. You're making a case for that. Next thing, because, I'm surprised you didn't make the fucking case with people well, you probably did. But make the case that people that were protesting this shit, okay, get locked the fuck up and arrested and shit like that because, we can infringe on that fucking right. Because, it's not really infringing. We're treating everyone fucking equally. I'm surprised you weren't pushing for that shit. I mean, this is the type of shit that's going on. All right. I'm sure this is the same type of person who's turned around and said, you're going to kill grandma and a fucking health worker if you live in Wyoming and leave your home in New York and live in New York City. When they're saying shit like that, I'm sure this is someone who's done that. But this is a different fucking story here. I'm sure they would also be at the same time saying, oh, well, you got to take the streets because of systematic fucking racism. I mean, this is ridiculous shit. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.